In this video, I want to talk about factors. I don't often use these in practice, but it's worth understanding how they work because they can be quite confusing. Some of the items I want to cover are creating factors, factor levels, adding levels, and type conversion. Factors are used to represent categorical data and can be created using the factor function. They are actually stored as integers with attribute levels containing the possible values of the categorical data, or the unique values if not explicitly specified. Something important to remember is that R sorts levels by default. Let's look at some examples. In this example, I pass a character vector to the factor function and assign its output to an object named sex. When I type sex into the R console and press the enter or return key, the factor is printed in the output along with the factor levels. Since I did not specify the levels in the factor function, they are simply the unique values passed to the factor function. Let's confirm some of the statements I made on the previous slide. If you type type of parentheses sex into the R console and press the enter or return key, the output is integer. This might seem odd since we clearly don't see integers in the output above. Let's now type attributes parentheses sex into the R console. Here the output shows two attributes, levels and class. So a factor is just an integer vector type with class type factor. In fact, R assigns 1 to female and 2 to male. The reason this happens is because R sorts the factor levels when the level orders are not explicitly provided. Then R assigns 1 to the first factor level, 2 to the second factor level, etc. This can be seen by casting the factor to an integer vector as shown in the output. You can enter levels parentheses sex into the R console to view the levels of the factor sex, and you can enter in levels parentheses sex to see the number of factor levels. The order of the levels can be changed by specifying levels yourself in the factor function, either at creation of the factor or by passing the factor back through the factor function. In the first line, I create a factor named sex, but also pass the levels to the factor function. This specifies the order of the levels, so R will not sort the factor levels. 1 will now be assigned to male, and 2 will be assigned to female. To make this more explicit, I will show an example changing the order of the levels in the factor function. Here I specify that female is the first factor level, and male is the second factor level. Levels are the unique values of the vector passed through the factor function. We can extend them by specifying the levels in the factor function. Here I create a factor named sex, and I try to assign the second element in the factor the value unknown. However, R throws a warning because unknown is not a valid factor level. R actually replaces the second element with an A, which is probably not the behavior we want. To prevent this from happening, I can extend the factor levels by explicitly passing it in the factor function as shown on the screen. The last thing I want to cover about factors is type conversion. Factors can be confusing, so be careful when using them. Although they may seem odd, they can actually be pretty useful later when we talk about regression and model formulas. In the first example, I create a factor containing numbers. When I try to convert the factors to a double vector using the as.numeric function, the output is not what you might expect. This is because the integers used in storing the factor levels are returned instead. In the block of code below, I use the levels function to get the factor levels, which returns a character vector. Then I use the factor vector itself as the index. This will return the original values I passed to the factor function as a character vector. This is why I then convert to a double vector using the as.numeric function. Note that you could have used as.double instead of as.numeric since they are equivalent in R. This concludes the content of this video. If you enjoy my videos and want to receive updates as I post more videos, please subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you in the next video.